Hey, Walter Sorrells back with more tips for the knife maker. Today, it's all about family. So I can still remember the first time that I was given a knife. It was when I was 9 years old. For my 9th birthday, my dad gave me a knife, and that knife is still special to me today. So today what we're going to do is something in that vein. We're going to take a knife. In fact, it's this well-loved specimen right here, this old machete that's sort of a family heirloom, and we're going to convert it into something new and fresh. And I think in doing that, we're going to show a little about those connections between the generations and how knives can really help people transmit values from, through the generations in their family. The client wanted me to transform an old rusty machete into a pair of smaller knives. His grandfather had carried the machete with him everywhere he went, and so to my client, the machete represents a powerful family connection. Unfortunately, the machete's gotten old and rusty, and it's not something that displays well. So my client wanted me to transform the blade into something new and special, a monument to his beloved grandfather. I have to say, I was initially a little hesitant. I didn't like the idea of destroying the old heirloom. But at the same time, it wasn't an intrinsically valuable tool. Rusted, pitted, with a cheap plastic handle. It was a working man's working tool way past its prime. So better to transform the tool than to have it lie neglected in a corner. So I gave it a little thanks for the material and the spirit of the man who carried it and launched into the work. I've also laboriously removed the pitting and rust on the surface. A few tiny pits remain, evidence of the original state of the steel. Removing them entirely would thin the blade excessively, so I sandblasted the rust out of them and continue surfacing. The client wanted me to preserve the maker's mark of the original machete, so that's what I've done, using abrasive blasting to clean off all the rust and dirt, and then significantly reducing the profile of the handle while retaining the original handle pin holes. Collins and Company, the maker of the machete, was established in Connecticut in 1826 and continued operations until the company was liquidated in 1966. The steel in the machete has already been heat treated, meaning that it's in its hardened state. As a result, it has to be ground very carefully and cooled constantly so that the temper or hardness of the steel is not disturbed. Normally, steel used for knife making is ground to shape, then hardened. We're going in the other direction. Not impossible, it just has to be done carefully. Because the blade material is quite thin and not entirely even, grinding the bevels is a very technically challenging operation. The handle will be made from a large piece of California buckeye burl, which I've used on a number of other projects over the years. I apply several coats of lacquer, a finish I reserve mainly for fairly decorative handles. While somewhat fragile, lacquer excels at showing off the details of the spectacular burl wood. And here are the final knives, a hunting knife and a small bird and trout knife. I hope the client will find them a fitting tribute to the man who carried and used this steel throughout his life. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, here are a couple of other videos that you might be interested in. Also, like me on Facebook at Walter Sorrells Blades, and check out my website, waltersorrellsblades.com, where you'll find examples of my work along with instructional videos showing all aspects of Japanese sword making, including forging and polishing, how to make hamones, and how to make fittings, scabbards, and handles for Japanese swords.